In this next video, we're going to be talking about saving ground balls. And it's a very important place to start with goalkeepers because it's the most common kind of shot that they're going to encounter. And this looks at how to save ground balls properly. And what we want to do is for coaches to train kids to avoid simply bending down at the waist with the legs apart, trying to grab the ball with their fingers. And we see this too many times. The ball goes right between the player's legs and a goal is scored. The parents cheer for it. The kid playing goal feels bad. These are really never good goals, and they're very easy to prevent. And when they occur, it also just simply makes it too easy for the attackers to score, and they don't develop better shooting skills. So for the ground balls that come right to the goalkeeper, it's important that the goalkeeper gets down to the ground properly and blocks the ball and scoops it up or covers the ball using their body or their chest. And it's an easy training issue for coaches to address. Very easy to prevent the kinds of shots that go just between the kid's legs. A couple of ways to block ground balls. One is the one knee down approach with the body in front of the ball and then scoop the ball to the chest. We're going to show this in the video. The second is to make a low stance with the hands down and gather and scoop the ball to the chest. Advantages and disadvantages of each. With the one knee down, it's almost impossible for the ball to get past the goalkeeper, but it takes a bit longer for the goalkeeper to get up and recover if the ball bounces off the keeper's body. The scoop technique is a little bit riskier. It's better for more experienced goalkeepers, and it allows quicker movement after the ball is put away. Either way, one must get the body low and the hands in a scoop position in front of the ball. In addition to balls that come basically to the goalkeeper and they'll block them or scoop them up, there are also ground balls where the goalkeeper should come out to secure these and not wait. And this can be a slower shot where the ball isn't going to come directly to the keeper and attackers are closing in on the ball, so it makes sense for the keeper to come out and attempt to secure the ball. And it may also be for very much faster shots where the goalkeeper should also come out and just attempt to secure the shot before it gets nearer to the goal. So depending upon the situation, the goalkeeper here goes to the ground with the arms outstretched, places the whole body chest down, gathers the ball under the chest, and covers the ball with the head down to protect the face. And this is a proper cover of the ball with the head down. There's also a way to side cover the ball. We're not going to show that here. We will show it in a later video segment. In some cases, the ball may bounce off of the goalkeeper, so a drill can be done to teach the players to get up quickly and then get to the ball and cover it again. This next segment is going to deal with teaching goalkeepers mid-chest catches and high catches. The mid-chest catch can be done with what we call low arms, where the hands are down with the fingers in an M position. And the goalkeeper catches the ball with the hands and forearms, essentially scooping the ball tightly to the chest. The video is going to show this. The goalkeeper does not want to catch the ball at the ends of the fingers, as there's a greater chance of dropping the ball. And The detail of the hand position is to use, again, the M position with the fingers pointed down, and the hands and forearms are under the ball to act as a scoop. For the high catch, the hands are up with the fingers in the opposite W position. And the goalkeeper looks to catch the ball with the fingers up and formed with a space that's basically shaped like a small triangle that's in between the index fingers and the thumbs. And the hands are squarely behind the ball. And in the hand position, the hands in the W would be at head height or above. The index fingers and thumbs are clearly behind the ball, and the fingers slightly covering the rear of the ball and a little bit over the top of the ball. After the catch, it's important that the goalkeeper brings the ball down to the chest to put it away before distributing it. That secures the ball, and it's a good habit to maintain, even if no one is nearby. This next segment looks at training goalkeepers for fast high shots where it may be very difficult to catch because of the speed of the shot, and it's going to be more effective for the goalkeeper to deflect the shot and then seek to recover the ball if possible. So catching is always preferable, but for very fast high shots, it may simply be beyond the skill and the ability of a young goalkeeper to safely catch it. And typically these would be shots where there is well less than a second of time between when the shot leaves the shooter's foot and when it reaches the goalkeeper's hand. So a fast shot can be very difficult for young kids to catch. One alternative is to deflect the ball away from the goal area with one or both hands, and hopefully to one side of the goal or the other, not the center. And we see these saves all the time, even at higher levels of play. The other option in deflecting a very high shot is if it's very high over the goalkeeper's heads, the goalkeeper can seek to deflect the shot over the top of the bar, and we show this in another video segment. But this also sets up a corner kick for the attacking team. Still preferable to a goal, but it is less preferable, obviously, than deflecting it to another area in front of the goal. Now, once the ball is deflected outside of the goal area, either a defender might be able to get to the ball and clear it, or if there's no defender nearby and attackers are attempting to close in on the ball again, the goalkeeper can come out to attack the ball and do really one of three things. One is to cover it if there's time available to do so. The second is, if there's less time, is to kick it away if a defender is too close to cover it, but not too close so that there's time for the goalkeeper to kick it away from the goal or perhaps across the touchline. And if there's not time to do that, the goalkeeper has to assume a low challenge stance to defend against the attack. And we're going to show more of that in a later video. But basically, three things a goalkeeper can do to attempt to recover after deflecting a ball. As we've talked about already, At the beginning of the video about basic goalkeeping, it's important for goalkeepers to be able to move back and forth laterally in a good athletic position and with their arms steady and in the right position to potentially catch the ball. And there are drills for doing this to help goalkeepers improve their lateral movement while they're catching. And goalkeepers have to be able to move side to side in a good athletic form. And there's really 4 key aspects to the body position that needs to be developed well. One is to make sure the front of the body is squared to the field and the goalkeeper's body is not twisting too far sideways one way or the other. To have the knees bent, the feet are shoulder width apart as much as possible, and the upper body is as straight as possible. And then when a goalkeeper attempts to catch the ball, of course, the elbows have to be bent slightly and the hands in the right catching position. So we're going to show in the video drills to catch and move laterally, which help the goalkeeper build all of these skills, a low catch and move side to side, and then a high catch and movement from side to side. A fun drill to do with goalkeepers when you have 2 of them, for example, is what I call a 2-ball toss and catch drill. And these drills are good for catching skills, timing, body movement, visual tracking of the ball, and reaction time for making the catches. And the video will show how 2 players can do this. It's a fairly simple exercise to set up, but also challenging for the kids to get more proficient at. So in the first part of the exercise, you can have the 2 goalkeepers toss a ball simultaneously to each other while they're stationary to get warmed up. And then they can toss the balls to each other simultaneously while they're moving in a circle or moving about to make it more dynamic. And it's a fun drill, and again, it helps the goalkeepers develop a whole variety of skills, not only catching, but also movement, reaction time, and visual, spatial skills and timing. One of the other things that both coaches and goalkeepers need to know is how fast these shots come in and to work on some exercises that help reaction time. I had a recent clinic with a bunch of kids about our keeper's age, 10, 11, and I asked them, when a shot comes from the top of the box, the top of the penalty area, how long do you think it takes in seconds for the shot to get to you if you're playing in the goal? The answers I got range from 1.5 to 2 seconds, which initially sounds fast. That is a very slow shot. Most of the shots will be a second, and many will be less than a second. So there really is not much time to react. The reaction time for a human being is typically 0.2 to 1/4 of a second. When they're this age, an elite athlete could be less. So when you take that into account, and it's a shot that's like 3/4 of a second, they may have only 1/2 second to react to that shot. So we'll show some fast shots.
On the ground or in the
Ground.
Okay.
So here's a slow one. That still was way less than 1.5 seconds. A little faster, probably about a second.
Good, nice. That shot probably was about 3/4 of a second. And now we'll do a really fast one. So she made the dive attempt. We'll get into diving a bit later. That was a very fast shot. Requires a lot of reaction time, training and diving technique. So it's just to be aware that we all know there's slower shots and faster shots, but it's also good to let the keeper know a sense of how much time do they have, and the old 1 Mississippi, which is the second, to tell them that's typically all the time you have to do this.
In these videos, we've talked about in various places the importance of a goalkeeper's reaction time and developing the reaction time, as again, many of the shots can be very quick, 1 second or less between the shot leaving the shooter's foot and reaching the goalkeeper's position. So there's a variety of ways that reaction time can be improved. One way that's fun is simply serving balls to kids very quickly, where the coach has a pile of multiple balls and then serves them up to the kids at a very rapid rate. And the kids then are challenged to deflect the balls away from one side to the other as quickly as possible. So really what it's working on is building hand-eye coordination, tracking the balls in space, improving reaction time, and hand-to-ball speed. And the coaches can vary the speed of the balls and even use smaller balls if they want, even tennis balls, which can make it a more challenging exercise. And it's really fun for the kids to do. Maybe the most difficult thing for the coach to do is to get enough balls together to make sure that they can throw perhaps 10 or 20 at a time before you have to gather them up and throw the balls again. In this video, we only show several balls, but it certainly gives you the idea of how this kind of a drill can work.
Shot. All right, once this is good, we'll do a couple more. If she had to turn around quickly, see where the ball was, and she actually did just a little bit of a dive. Shot. That was a slow one. She did a nice cover. Shot. So hopefully you get the idea. Now what I'd like you to do is stand facing backwards. We can also do the same exercise with the high ball. So when I say shot, you're going to turn around and catch. Shot. Shot. And if she doesn't catch it, she can practice. If you want to get a little more creative, the kids have fun, you can ask them to do a somersault, catch the ball. It gets them even a little bit more disoriented, but they do have fun with it. So we'll show that. Ready, somersault first. Good. Go. And she made a nice try to get her fingertips on the ball, but again, this is why we do it. It provides this additional training. And go. Good, good, thank you. All right, there are basically, I'm going to say, 3 types of throw distributions to do that you can teach the kids. At a young age, the easiest is a roll. For 10U, the fields also have a build-out one, which means the keeper gets a little bit more time and the defender gets a little bit more time to touch the ball. So the frantic coach yelling, You know, do it quick, not to the center. In youth soccer these days, we don't have to worry about that so much, which helps kids. So the easiest one to teach them is the roll, and the easiest thing to teach them is don't ever roll it into the center. Key thing to try to teach the keeper is the speed at which you roll the ball. If you roll it too fast, it's harder, obviously, to control. You roll it too slow, the defender may have to run in. It's just basically coming out and just doing a roll like you're rolling the ball. The keeper has the entire space within the penalty area to come out and roll the ball all the way out to the edge of the penalty area. Depending upon the coach what they want to do, if they have the defender a little farther back, they may want the keeper to distribute the ball more to the side. Depends upon how the coach wants to coach the team.
Yeah.
They may want the keeper to come out all the way and roll the ball out as far as possible.
Yeah, because it's different for different coaches. Because they want me to stand in the middle and my defender's over there, so I roll it to there and then they dribble. So it's different.
So point she makes is it really depends on what the coach would like to do and how they tactically like to work between the keeper and the defender. The next distribution you can teach is a sidearm sling throw. What's key to do this is you have to tell the player you're going to hold the ball until just before you release it. Their hands are a little smaller, so if they do it perhaps with one hand, they may lose control of it. So they can hold it up until the point where they're ready to release it. And as they release it, they want to take a step with their body because their body puts some additional force and power into the throw. This does take kids sometimes a little longer to learn, as they may have never thrown a ball this way before. You know, they've done an overhead throw, they've done rolling the ball, but this kind of throw, what it does is it provides both power and usually pretty good accuracy. Alright, then the next one we're going to show is the baseball throw. And the baseball throw is the arm that's coming basically more like a windmill over the top of the head, like you would tend to throw a pitcher would throw a baseball. And the thing that you do have to teach the keeper when you do the baseball throw, he's going to fairly quickly balance it into one hand. So you do have to make sure you properly taught her how to hold it, get the fingers a little bit behind it so it's steady, and then she's going to make the throw up this way. With the sidearm throw, she has an opportunity to steady the ball a little longer before the throw is released. With the overhead throw, this hand is going to come out a little bit sooner. So there's advantages and disadvantages. The baseball throw can get you the greatest height, sometimes gets you the greatest distance. It's good to familiarize the keeper with all of these, but they all have different implications for how you train them. When the players get to 11U, they can punt. At 9U and 10U, they're not allowed to punt. They have to distribute the ball by throwing it. A couple of minutes ago, we talked about the different kinds of distribution, which basically can be a roll, it can be a baseball throw, it can be a sidearm throw. Each of them has advantages and disadvantages relative to how much distance you get, how accurate the throw is, and of course the other one is a punt. Okay, so when we teach the young player to punt, we want to get the feet shoulder width apart. We want the knees bent, and they're going to hold the ball, of course. When they release the ball to initially start the punt, what we don't want them to do is throw it up and try to kick it, because then the ball has a longer way to drop to the foot. And where the ball wants to drop to the foot, if you put your leg up, you're going to do the right. If you put your leg up, right here is the sweet spot for punting the ball about at a 45-degree angle. So where you can start is just have the players drop the ball a little way. It hits their instep, and they can look down to start, and just a little punt that goes maybe 10 feet. So just do a little one, okay? And go. And go. Now, if the ball comes off the side of the foot, you're going to see just what you saw, so you want to then reinforce to the keeper to try to get it right onto the inside. And go. And now what she did, which I'd like her not to do, is she threw the ball up. And when you do that, instead of the ball dropping here to here, it throws up, and it makes it a more difficult target to contact the ball. So goalkeeper, just drop it. So don't toss it, just drop it right onto, and also it went off the side, and go. And now when it goes way up, it actually hit more towards her ankle, or her foot did this when she contacted the ball, which in simple physics, essentially you kind of have a club and a ball, and if the ball hits off this side, it goes this way, this side it'll go this way, the toe it'll tend to go too low, the ankle too high, it hits the sweet spot, we'll get about that 45. So now we're going to show more punts with a different goalkeeper, and let's do some short ones to start. And again, that came off the side of her foot a little bit. Concentrate. Good. So that one came right to me in the center. If it comes low, that came off the toe. And that's pretty close. That's a really nice one. And if they get it right to your hands, it's perfect. Now we'll do some longer ones. And so if you've gotten the short ones pretty good, now ask her to build up the power a little bit, which just means increasing the leg speed. Still do not throw the ball up. And go. That one is a little bit off the toe, so it needs a little more height. That's really a perfect angle. Nice high in the air. About a 45-degree angle. And that's pretty good. It may be a little bit lower than we like, but it will still clear the heads of the other players. Let's do one more. And that one was a really good one. Yeah, and what was good about what she did is she really held the ball steady before she dropped it to her foot. So, got pretty good height. All right, diving. Kids love to learn diving, but there is a little bit to teaching this. And the first part of teaching it is to begin with teaching them the proper body skill. So with our goalkeeper here, she's going to put her, again, her feet about shoulder width apart. She's going to bend her knees. Now, she's going to have her hands up. This is a good goalkeeper stance. When the ball comes here, what they don't do is just fling themselves out to the side. Essentially what they're going to do is bend the knee forward, and just let me do your slow motion. They're really rolling forward over their knee, so when they drop to the ground, there's not as much distance. and they want to have their whole side hit the ground at the same time so they don't hurt their shoulder. And as they go, they want their hands as close together as possible as if they're catching the ball. And we're going to go slow motion. I'm going to hold you, and that's really the dive position. And then they want that leg to come up just a little bit. 2 reasons. One, if they overdive, they can maybe get the ball with their feet. If they have to get up quickly, they can use their legs to power themselves back up again. So let's show it one more time, slow motion. Again, that knee bent. This is actually called the power step, and she's going to we're going to do it slowly. She's going to come down over the knee, hit her side all at once. She wants to keep these hands as close together as possible, and that leg up just a little bit. Maybe the knee forward a little bit, and she can snap herself up. So, a lot of coaches just start with, okay, dive. You really need to take your keeper through the slow motion so they understand what the body movement feels like. Our keeper here is a gymnast, and as she's done many of her gymnastics moves, you can bet that there's been trainers that have helped her through in slow motion the various things she has to do, so she gets the feel of how her body moves in space to get the ball. Ready? Now, the simplest dive is what we call the collapse dive, which means the ball is coming relatively close to the keeper. She does not have to take a step out, and she can really just collapse and take the ball into her belly. All right, so we're going to show the collapse dive. You want the keeper in her ready position. And one of the things we do want to teach the keeper is try not to catch the ball any farther out than she has to, and to bring it in as quickly as possible. Because obviously, the farther out it is, the more risk the ball can get away from you. So we'll do another one. Ready? All right, try to bring it into your chest. Ready? Right, one more. Ready? Good. Now, on that last one, she rolled on her back a little bit. We really want to try to get the keeper not to do that, because if she rolls on her back, you get a little bit of momentum where the ball might come off her stomach and get past her towards the goal. Let's do one more. That's a good one. So she got it nicely with her hands behind the ball, brought it right into the stomach. When we teach the goalkeeper to dive a little bit farther out, to get her that additional distance, initially this leg begins to get you moving. This leg is what we call the power step, which will give her that additional ability to spring out. So there is a little bit of muscle physics in it. Not all the kids will understand it, but it's good for the coaches too. When she dives, and I've explained the concept of the shooting angle, she wants to dive forward here to attack the ball, rather than trying to dive backwards, because it allows her to cut the space off better and get to the ball sooner. So when you dive, we want you to get to the ball here, okay? So in your ready position, go. And that's a nice dive. So these are a little farther out than the collapse dive. Go. And you actually saw our keeper take a little bit of a quick step. That's one of the reasons we work on lateral movement, because if they can't take that lateral step nicely, it'll be tough for them to do that. Ready, go. Okay. Want to do some to this side? And we're not showing too many to the other side, but the principle is the same. Ready, go. And then come out forward as much as possible. Ready, go. And stop. You'll see the keeper really is about a 45-degree angle to the goal. So rather than waiting for the ball here, she came out to attack the ball here, and that allows her to get to the ball quicker and cut the shooting angle. And do you like diving?
Yeah.
How much do you like diving?
A lot.
A lot. Say it to the camera.
A lot.
There you go. Kids love diving. All right, one of the things we want to begin to teach the players is the concept of the shooting angle and coming out of the goal to close down the space. And we're going to show you, for those of you who are not familiar with it, effectively how that works. A lot of players will start by standing on the goal line. Our goalkeeper here is on the goal line, and as you can see, effectively there's a lot of space on either side of her where the ball might go in, and she won't have an opportunity to get to it. The farther out she comes, and you can see him there, effectively, if you look past her body, the amount of space now that's available to get the ball past her has gone from this effectively to that, because she's coming out to the attacker and challenging for the ball. And the same thing happens on the other side. So, and the closer she comes to defend against the shooter, if she comes to me right here, and I don't want her to grab the ball yet. So just stand. So you can go back just a little bit. So get your hands low. If she's coming out here to defend against an attacker, and don't get the ball, I just want to show it. If I try to shoot past her, I'm going to miss the corner post because she effectively has closed down the angle. One of the inclinations of kids is, let me just stand in front of the goal and I'm going to hope the ball just comes to me in the center. She has to actively come out and play the space and to cut down that shooting angle, so the ball really effectively can't get past her. And I think you can see from the camera, if you look over her shoulder here, there's really effectively no space. If the ball just went by her foot, it's not going to head into the goal. And effectively here, there's really not much ability for the ball to get into the goal. If the attacker is a little farther away, the space opens up a little bit effectively, but she can come out and challenge the attacker and get very close. All right, here's what we don't want the keeper to do. If they haven't yet really understood the concept of coming off the line and attacking the ball, we're going to have our goalkeeper stay stationary. So this might be the inexperienced one who has not been trained. The attacker comes in, the attacker comes in, and she hopes the shot comes to her. If not, it's going to tend to go to the corner. If the shooter's at all accurate, and can score a goal. She actually made a nice deflection though. So, good job. All right. Working with the players on using the shooting angle in an actual game, either you or one of your other players who serves as an attacker can make an attack so the player is going to come out and challenge for the ball. You'll have to coach the player to do this and encourage the player to come out, attack the ball, cover it if they can, kick it out if they can, and essentially take it away from the attacker. If the attacker is keeping the ball really close, then it's going to be better for the goalkeeper to come out and wait for the shot. Hopefully the attacker makes a mistake. If the attacker kicks the ball farther out, so it might be what we call a 50-50 ball between the attacker and the goalkeeper, then the goalkeeper has a much better chance of coming out and getting the ball. So we'll do a 50-50 one first. Come out, and then I kick it too far ahead of me, and she's come out for the ball. We'll do another thing. touch, and then I went a little too far. The keeper came out of the goal, covered the ball, actively played the space, cut the angle down, did not just wait for the shot. And I'll do one where I keep the ball a little closer, and as the keeper just come out low and challenge. So, and it's okay to do this in slow motion. So the attacker's keeping the ball a little closer. We want the keeper to come out here low and go for the ball if she can. If she can't go for the ball, to track the attacker until she has an opportunity. This time, let me just flip the ball a little bit. Okay. Attacker comes in, keeper comes out low. Now, if I'm really good with my ball handling, she'll have to track me and look for an opportunity to get the ball. Let's do one more where you're facing the camera. Okay. Ready position, ready position, ready position. And she tracks the ball and goes for it if she can. And helping train the keeper to understand when it's appropriate to attack the ball and when it's appropriate to wait and shadow the attacker low, trying to defend the shot, is what I call the 3-ball technique. So if we have our keeper start on the normal place where she would stand, and either a coach or attacker, where you normally stand. When the coach goes in for an attack with a ball that's really close, it's pretty obvious to the keeper that she can get to that. So I'm going to start, you go for it. Go. Okay. So the ball was close enough to her here, that, and if you stand in the normal spot here, if the ball is close enough to her, and you frame them to come out, and if the shooter's over here, and you see the distance from the ball, from the shooter to the ball, it's much greater than to the keeper. Now this is either one of two things have happened. There's a loose ball that's gotten passed in front of the goal that missed the shooter, or the shooter simply kicked it too far ahead of himself or herself, and it winds up here. So the shooter comes in for the shot, and then the keeper can get it to himself. Very useful. Now, the next one, get back to your normal position. And I'll put this ball out of the way. The next one is really the 50-50 ball. And if you look now, this ball is about halfway in between me and the keeper. The keeper has a couple of choices. She can either come out and try to get the ball, but if the attacker is pretty fast, she may not come out in time. Or she can come out low and try to defend the shot. She'll have to make the decision. A lot of coaches will yell, come out, come out, come out. And it may or may not be right depending upon, the spacing of the ball. And the keeper has to learn also how to make that judgment. We have to remember that the distance she sees, because of perspective, even if the ball is halfway in between us, the ball looks a little closer to me as the attacker than it does to her. And with younger kids, because their brains are still learning how to see space, it's a little harder for them sometimes to judge that. So we're going to do the 50-50 ball. Are you ready? And go. So in this particular situation, the attacker is fast. He heard the ball, and if there's another attacker on the same team, 50-50 ball, and go. Oh. Now, it's actually good that I did that. There she judged the attacker was a little slower and she had time. She also wants to get down and cover the ball and protect herself because the attacker may go over the top of her like I just did. I didn't look terrific doing it. Kids also have to realize that there may be a risk somebody bumps into them. And that's a good example of she was able to get to the ball first and successfully cover it before the attacker could take another touch. So the third ball is the one that's definitely not a 50-50 ball. So obviously if she comes out too soon, it's going to be pretty easy for the attacker to get to it and pass it off. So she's got to come out and defend that one low and hope she gets an opportunity if the attacker makes a mistake of handling the ball. Ready? Go. And then she kicked it away when she saw an opportunity. So that one is come out, hands low and at the ready, stay with the attacker, look for an opportunity where the ball might be a little farther away from the attacker if they made a mistake. The keeper has an opportunity to come out. And one of the easier ways, which the keeper demonstrated, was just to tackle and kick the ball out. Because she can run a little faster, get to the ball quicker than when she's actually making a diving motion. So again, attacker much closer to the ball. Keeper comes out, hands low. Attacker's trying to move the ball around. Track the ball, and she looks for an opportunity to try to get the ball out.